Well, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Meet the Author. And we have a familiar face here today. Kat Singleton is back again. Kat, thank you so much for jumping back on with me.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Obviously, you just had a really big week because you just had the final release of your Black Tie Billionaire Series. How has release week been for you so far?
It's been so crazy. It's always like so bittersweet to end a series. And I feel like I was just so nervous because Emma's book, the last book that's released, I feel like was by far like the book that people wanted the most and the character that people wanted the most. So I was very nervous to see how people would react to it and stuff like that. But it's gone better than I could have ever hoped or expected and everything. So it's been great.
And the last time we talked, you were just getting ready to release the second book in the series. And we were talking about how when you first wrote Black Ties, White Lies, you weren't thinking about it being a series. But because how much everyone loved it, you were like, wait, okay, I'll go back and tell the story more. How has it been now full circle seeing how the first book was received to now all the way through and it being complete?
It's just been crazy. Like again, I wrote Black Ties and thinking like I didn't think anyone was gonna read it. So at the time I didn't really like have a readership when I wrote it. So like I just kind of wrote that book for me. And when writing it, like I just thought like it was gonna be a one-off kind of thing that I wrote just because I really wanted to write like a billionaire, ex's brother, like all those tropes. And now it's just like crazy because that book changed my life. This series has changed my life. And the fact that like it wasn't just like Beck and Margot, but it was like those characters and that world as a whole that people kept coming back to. Like, oh, it's just something that like I'll never forget and always just be so like grateful for because I never could have expected that when I released Black Ties, thinking it would just be Black Ties.
Now that you've finished all three, which one do you feel like was the easiest for you to write when you were doing it?
I think Black Ties was the easiest to write because again, like didn't have I mean, I just wrote it for myself. Like I didn't think about the audience. I didn't have people, saying, like, oh, I really hope this happens and different stuff like that. Like I feel like I just wrote it, writing the book that I wanted to read. So I think that one was probably the easiest just because like it's a lot harder once more eyes are on you and you know that like you could let more people down. Like I feel like that's always hard as I'm such a people pleaser. So I'm like, I hope that I'm like writing the story that they want, especially for characters that are so loved before they even get their own book. Like it's very daunting to write their story sometimes.
Now that you're on, you just wrote the final book though, and obviously you have a huge readership now. Like so many people have found you because of this series. What was, probably wasn't as easy to write that book because you had high expectations, but what was that feeling like knowing, okay, so many people are going to read this and I think they're really going to enjoy it?
Oh, it was amazing. Like I remember finishing Bright Lights and I just was so like proud of Emma and Preston and like the story they went on and just like everybody because you kind of see, if it's an interconnected standalone to kind of see where the past couples are at and like, what they've been doing. So it was such like it was bittersweet. I did like cry because again, like these characters, these books like changed my life. So it was kind of hard to let them go. But I also was just like I feel like I know that I wrote the story that I wanted to tell, and I was just very proud of that and excited to, release it to the world.
So if people haven't picked up Bright Lights yet, if you could sum it up in a couple of sentences or one or two sentences, how would you describe it?
I mean, I definitely think it's the perfect summer read. Like, I feel like even when I was like going over it, I was like, oh, like I just want to be at a pool reading this. Like when I was doing my final read through, like it's just like perfect summer read. Um, it's fun, it's spicy. Like you do still get like a little bit of angst, but it's nothing like overly heavy or anything like that. And I feel like it's very relatable. Like I feel like especially Emma as a character is very relatable, and I feel like I don't know. I feel like everyone can relate to her in some way, shape, or form. And I love being able to write a character like that.
I think honestly, I mean, she's definitely, like you said, very relatable. I think too, so many people don't like I'm personally, I'm not a huge fan of third act breakups, but the one in this book, it was so well done and like needed because, it's so hard sometimes too when you're like her, she's presented with this like perfect situation. She's like, I have this perfect man who is like all about me. But I told myself that I was going to fix myself first.
Right.
And it's like so strong and like it takes a lot of strength and like power to be like, no, I'm going to do what I set out to do. I'm going to do what's best for me first and then,
Right.
establish anything else. And I think that was really like well done. And I think readers honestly probably who have finish the book are like, wait, I actually love that.
I spiraled over that for so long because I was like, I knew how people felt about third act breakups and stuff like that. And I was like, there's no way around it. Like who she's been from the very first page, like she has to put herself first. Like that's her whole journey is, she hasn't necessarily done that. So I was like, I'm just gonna pray that people understand because I feel like if I did the opposite and she just followed him, that like I'd have more people upset with me because they're like, she's just falling into the same pattern that she's always done. And like, that's not what we want for her and stuff like that. So, but I was like so nervous on how people would kind of receive that and if they would like that or if, because female characters, especially, I feel like if they're kind of the reason behind a third act breakup or they have anything to do with it, like I feel like they can get like eaten alive by readers sometimes. And it's terrifying. So I was so nervous to like write that. But I was like, there's just no, like, that has to be her journey. And I hope that people relate to her enough and like are cheering on, not just like her and Preston, but like her enough to understand that like for them to be like long term, that she has to like get her goals first,
Well, I think you mentioned it already perfectly. This friend group, a lot of people have been waiting for her book too, and they've seen obviously the girls through the entire series, even from the beginning. That's what people wanted more books because they're like, wait, we love this friendship, we love this group, like we need more of them. And so you've had that expectation, but I think just what you said. I mean, these books are your babies, but they're also your characters, and so as readers, we can never be like, no, I hate how you did that because their stories way better than we ever could. And
Right.
I think doing it that way was absolutely perfect in my opinion. Like I said, I'm one
Right.
of those people that it's like if it's a third act breakup, it has to be a good one. And this one, I was like, I stand by it. It makes
Yay. That makes me so happy.
Yay! I love that. So now that you have completed this, what is next? And if you can tease to anything, what can people be like? Okay, are we going back to our small town romance? What are we? What are we doing?
Yes. So I have Daddy Dean's book next, as everyone has nicknamed him, which is so funny because like that wasn't even what I called him. That's just what you guys just decided to start calling him. So Dean's book releases in September, which is Single Dad and Nanny, and that's back in Satin Mountain, and I'm so excited to return there. And so that will be the final book in Satin Mountain. And then starting in 2025, I will be starting a new series, and it's the Pembroke Hills series. And it's all about a country club, which you do see in Pretty Rings and Bright Lights. And I'm very excited to stay at the Hamptons for a little bit and write a whole bunch of, rich men with different formulas of, what kind of rich man they are. And yeah, the first book is called In Good Company, and it is a private chef and billionaire romance, which I'm so excited about. I've been on the private chef, like Hamptons TikTok for years now, just like wanting to write a story for it so bad. So finally am, and that'll release in spring of 2025. So very
That's
excited.
exciting. And just finishing Bright Lights to all the Hampton vibes. Like I said, you said perfect for the summer. I literally just wanted to be by the pool, or I was like, okay, let me just like pack a bag really fast and go to the Hamptons, even though I can't afford to do that, but like I want
I know. I keep telling my husband, I was like, we need to go. Like, I feel like I need to just like go for a week and experience it.
to. You have to. You wrote about it at this point. It's
Right. About to get a
honey,
whole series in it.
research.
And I'm like, I need the research. Exactly.
Just write it off. It's fine, honey. It's for work.
That's true. Very true. So I just might.
That's so awesome. So now that, like I said, this has been finished, how does it feel to know that you're transitioning back to Satin Mountain? Do you feel like readers, after, you took a break, obviously there to finish the Black Tie Billionaire series, do you feel like readers are excited, ready to get back into it? Or do you feel like maybe you're like,
Yeah.
okay, like how is this going to go now that you've just gone from
No,
billionaire romance to small town?
I mean, I think readers are very excited. Obviously I feel like I get, I don't get a ton of people's like disappointment, especially when like the book hasn't released yet. So I haven't really heard anything negative. But yeah, people really want like me to write a single dad, and they're like ready for the single dad with Dean. So it's honestly so funny because I feel like that book's gonna end up being like my most pre-ordered book, which is so funny because like that series, it still sells very well for me, but it's definitely not, the Black Tie series. So I think people are excited. I hope they're excited, and I'm excited. So
Are you excited to write Single Dad Nanny?
oh yeah, like I haven't done that before, so I'm like ready for, and I just feel like small town single dad, that there's just something different about the small town single dad. But like also, I love writing Rich Man. Like Dean's family pretty much owns Stone Mountain. So like I'm excited to still get to, spoil her.
I feel like Single Dad Nanny has been like very popular recently too. So it's like the perfect time to have that out there because people are just like, give me another, give me another.
Right. That's my hope.
Love that. Well, besides, bookish related things, writing your series, how have you been in life generally, staying busy, obviously, because you've had so many books coming out so quickly this year and another one coming out this year. What are you doing when you're not writing to kind of take a step back to just be like, okay, I just want to be Kat for a minute, not Kat within the author?
I mean, life has been so busy. So I work a lot. I couldn't even tell you like the last book I read or anything like that. And then I have a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old. So basically all my free time is spent, being a mom. We just moved in March. So at the end of March,
Congratulations.
thank you. So kind of like settling in and all of that. But yeah, it's just kind of been, if I'm not working, I'm spending time with my kids. And if I'm not with my kids, I'm probably working.
Do you feel like since obviously you said your life completely changed, you went from not being a teacher anymore to being a full-time author. Do you feel like now that so many people are seeing you that you feel the pressures you have to write a little bit more? Or do you think that maybe you're like, you know what, I'm just going to write at my own pace. People are going to get when they're going to get it and hopefully they love it, but you don't feel overly pressured to like do too much?
Right. I mean, I feel like I've kind of, since people have known me, I've always kind of been on like the 3 books a year schedule. And like that's still something I feel like I can keep up with and maintain. So luckily, like I feel like I started out at a schedule that, like it's sometimes hard. Like it's definitely, especially this one, like they're pretty close together. But I luckily I feel like everyone seems to be okay with the way that my schedule is and not like super like, oh my god, she hasn't released in forever. So
I give y'all all the props. I have no idea how y'all write more than one book a year. I just like every time I sit there and it's like you announce the next one and I'm like, I don't have to wait that long. And I'm excited, but then I'm sitting there like, how stressed are you?
right. I mean, I think it's a lot different because like this is my full-time job. So like I can write a book in 6 weeks when it's, I'm doing it all day, 8 to 5. So sometimes it gets harder when you have more like admin stuff and like different things that are like marketing, all this stuff. But luckily we've brought on more and more people that have kind of taken stuff off my plate. That way I can just write the books.
How has that been like a fun change for you, not having to do all the behind the scenes stuff now and just being able to be like forefront and just getting to write the stories you want to tell?
It's nice. I mean, I feel like I didn't ever think that I was like, I'm a very like type B control freak. You know what I mean? So like it was very hard for me. Like I've always been very type B. So I was like, oh, like I can easily like let go of things. But it's been like, it was definitely a transition just to like, like being an author, like this is my name, like it's my brain, you know what I mean? It's not just like a business, like it literally is my name. So like trusting people to kind of like, do things in my name was hard at first, but now it's great. I've got a great team of people, so cannot complain.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much again for taking the time today. Is there anything that I didn't ask you about, or maybe you just want to say about this, newest release? Obviously, people can get it on Kindle Unlimited. They can find it other places too. But is there anything else you want to say to readers just now that we've concluded one series?
No, just other than like thank you for, reading my books, especially because I feel like I've done a very non-traditional thing, publishing between 2 series, like we kind of talked about. So the fact that people keep, putting up with me, going back and forth, like I appreciate it so much.
I honestly feel like to me, I'm chill with it. I'm like, okay, I get to enjoy my small town, and now I get my billionaires, and then I get to.
Right. It's kind of also a little palate cleanser back and forth. Like I feel like it's just like a different, different. So I've had fun doing it.
And really, like even now, okay, we know we're going back to Sutton Mountain. Even though the other 2 books have already been out, it's like a perfect reread now. So you've had your billionaires, and now we can go back and we can like get ready.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm very excited about it.
Well, that's so awesome. Thank you so much again, Kat, for coming on today. I had so much fun chatting with you, and I think people are going to absolutely love this book. I think Emma's story is so well done, and I think you should be so proud of it because truly, I think it was the perfect conclusion to that series.
Thank you. And thank you again for having me.
Always. And you guys make sure you're staying up to date. Everything happening here with Michaela's Book Nook that you can follow along for more author interviews and more. And until next time, bye, everybody.